So we're gonna play minuet 2 in G minor. Okay, the first note is A sharp and G. Okay, let me give you the first part first. The first part is gonna be like this. Okay, so G and A sharp. You go down to A, G, A and F, D, D. And then you go back to G, G, and E flat. Lower G, A sharp, C, and then D and D. Higher D, C, B flat, A. So that's the first part. Okay, I put it like a little bit faster, but you can take your time to practice the first part a little bit, and we'll move on to the second part. So the second part, you start, okay, when you do this, you transition to A sharp and G. And then for the right hand, you go to D sharp. And then you go to F. And you go back to D sharp. And then A and D. And then you go to C, back to D, when you go back to D, you go with A sharp, and then you go to D sharp again, and then you go down back to D, and then C. Okay, so it's like this. Then combine the two parts. Well, the second one is not that done yet, but we're gonna just play what we've done so far. Like that. And then after that, you go to B flat, and then so like this. Go back to C with one here. And then you go to D with G flat. And then you go to B flat, and G. And you go back to C. And then you go to A and lower D. And then the same thing as the first part, you go. And then you literally restart again. You go on 5, and then you switch to 2. But there's a catch. You go D, C. You don't go here. You go B, and then you go to A. And then, so that's the second part. The third part is gonna be like this. It's kinda hard for me, but and then, so that's gonna be the third part. Okay, so let's learn the third part. When you go down here, you go 1 up, D and B. For the right hand, you go to F. And then you go to G, but back to F, and then you go to E flat, with G, and then you go to D, and then you go to C, and then F and A, and then you go back to E flat, and then D, and G with F. And you go down, and then you go to A sharp and D, and then G and D sharp, E flat, and then you go to C and A and F. And then the chord is gonna be A sharp, F, and then D. And then also A sharp, and you go down to the lower A sharp. That's the third part. So the 3 parts are part A. Okay, so moving on. This is gonna be the 4th part. Okay, so okay, so that's the 4th part. Okay, so we're gonna go to D and A sharp. There's a lot of A sharps in this piece, so yeah. And then go to A sharp, and then you go to twist to C, and then D, and then E, and then you twist again to F, and then you go down. And then you literally step note down, and then when you do that, like this, and then you push the 1 and A sharp and E. No, I mean G. And then you go to E. E and a skip note down to G. And then you go to step notes up. And then when you reach to and then A, and then when you reach the A sharp, you go with C. And then you go to G, and then A, and which is F. And then you go one step down, up, and then you go to so it's like this. Like this. And you go to F. And then you go F and A. Okay, I'm not going to tell you the notes for this one because probably you can see here. Or probably I can. G, A and G. A sharp. C. C and F. D. And then you go back to G, and then you go down 2 notes, and then you go to E flat, and C. And then you go to F. F and D. And then you go back to B flat. And then you go to F. And then you go to A sharp. And I mean B flat. B flat and A sharp are like the same. And then you go to D, and then the part. And so you go to G and G for left hand, B and D or E. Goes like this. D, C, D, and then you go to C. D sharp, D, D sharp. So that's the short part. And we're gonna do the last part, and then we're gonna be done with the song. It's only like 1 page. So the last part is like this. Kind of hard maybe for you, but so this is fun. So A sharp and G, and then you go to G flat and A, and then you go to G, G and G, A sharp, and then you go to A and D, and then you hold it, and then go to A. G, G flat, E, D and D. Hold it. E sharp, F sharp, and then G, A sharp, and then you go to D sharp, and C, and then you go and then A sharp and D, and then you go to what's it called again? Okay, A and C, and then you go to A sharp. Okay, A sharp and B flat. to G, G, and C. And then you go to G flat. And then you go to D and G flat. And then you switch, instead of that you use D, D, and then B flat with G and then G. So that's the whole song. If you like it, like me. And I don't know if the sharps and flats are right or wrong because some are the same. Like that. So yeah.